Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am attempting a copycat recipe of the Crumbl chocolate chip cookie, and this is my first attempt. So I start with 1 cup of butter, and that is 2 sticks. I have 1 stick of salted and 1 stick of unsalted. You want to whip that in your mixer for about a minute or so until it starts to turn almost white in color. Once you get to that step, you're going to go ahead and you're going to start adding your sugars. I have 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. Mine is the organic unbleached sugar. And then you have a cup and a cup and a quarter of packed brown sugar. And I am using light brown sugar because that's what I have, but you could probably try dark brown if you wanted. So you want to put that in the mixer and start at a low speed and slowly mix those sugars in with that butter. And one thing I meant to say at the beginning is make sure that your butter is room temperature. This is a room temperature butter recipe. There is also a chilled butter one. Also, I want to let you know to make sure and have your eggs out at room temperature as well before using them. So we continue to mix until this is almost light and fluffy. And I do scrape the bowl a couple of times because with these stand mixers, it just kind of like goes all the way up the sides. And so I want to make sure and get all those sides clean, whip it all together again. And then now you see me cracking in 2 eggs, and you can do 1 at a time, or I just went ahead and did both for video purposes. And you will mix those in just until incorporated, and then we will start with those dry ingredients. So as I said before, mix these together well, and then use a rubber spatula to scrape the sides 1 time and then blend again, just to make sure you get everything mixed up. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you so much for watching my channel. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button, and I'd love for you to hit the like button as well as that notification bell. And if you're returning, thank you so much for your support. I truly, truly appreciate each and every one of you for helping my channel. Now I am adding my pure vanilla, and no, I do not measure it. It is supposed to be 2 teaspoons. I just kind of squirt it in there and eye it, but feel free to measure 2 teaspoons out and put that in there, mix well. Now we are going to start with the dry ingredients. In a bowl, you're going to want to put 3 cups of unbleached all-purpose flour, as well as 2 teaspoons of cornstarch and a teaspoon of baking soda, as well as, since I used salted butter, you only need to add about 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. So go ahead and add that in there. Then I take a wire whisk and I whisk this all together until it is mixed well. Now we will incorporate the dry ingredients with the wet ingredients. So you're going to want to take a little bit at a time. Don't mind my flour all over the countertops. I was making this video in a hurry and I just made a disaster. But add that flour a little bit at a time. Mix in there slowly so that you do not get a flour party if you go too fast. And then just keep incorporating until you have all the dry ingredients mixed in with the wet ingredients. And then what am I going to say? Make sure you go ahead and scrape that bowl a few times to get everything in there and all mixed up. So what I meant in the beginning by my first attempt of a Crumbl copycat chocolate chip recipe, there's 2 different recipes that I want to try. This is the first one. I kind of added a little bit more of this and a little bit less of that. But altogether, I think that this cookie recipe turned out great. But there is another one I want to try, and I want to be able to compare the 2 and see which one is more like the Crumbl cookie. Another thing is make sure you don't overbake like I did. I was so afraid that they were going to be raw that I baked longer, and I wish I would have pulled them out at the right time. I scrape that bowl one last time, mix it up, and then we are going to be adding our chocolate chips. And I like to use the semi-sweet chocolate chips. Now, I usually like the mini morsels, but I'm using the regular size. I will tell you one little secret. I do have an inside source, and Crumbl uses Ghirardelli chocolate chips. Now, I'm not sure if it's semi-sweet or milk chocolate, but I do know they use Ghirardelli. So I'm going to go ahead and fold those in there, and my camera sideways. I'm sorry, you guys, I didn't fix it before doing the voiceover. But you're going to want to hand mix those chocolate chips in and just get them nice and incorporated. I always start with about half of the bag to see how many that gives me, and then sometimes I just keep adding. So in this recipe, I used about 3/4 of a bag of chocolate chips. Like I said, mine are semi-sweet. You can use the big chocolate chunks. You can use milk chocolate if you want. But this is how I chose to do it, and this is how it turned out. I have to say that the cookie dough, I can tell you, was amazing. I am using a large ice cream scoop for these because I do see every time I go to Crumbl them scooping and shaping, and even my large scoop is a little bit smaller than a Crumbl cookie, but that is what I had on hand, and I wanted to make them as even as possible. So you go ahead and you scoop some of that up, and then you put that in your hands and roll it into a ball. Now you will see me playing with the cookie sheet here as I'm rolling them because I can't decide if I want to cook more than 3 at a time, how to place them on the cookie sheet, but I do figure all that out, and I decide to only do 3. Now I roll them in a ball, and I, like I said, put them on the cookie sheet, and then I kind of took the tops and flattened them down just a little bit, not all the way, just to ensure like an even cooking. And I wish I would have not pressed them down. So you will see later in the video that I just roll them in a ball and put them on there, and those turn out a little bit better. As far as that second recipe goes, they use cake flour instead of cornstarch, so that would be the difference, and we will see how those turn out. Anyway, have your oven preheated to 375 degrees. I stuck these in there for roughly 15 minutes, and mine do turn out a little bit browner than I wanted them to, so I would definitely reduce the time. I also do rotate the cookie sheet halfway through the cooking so that they cook a lot more evenly. These are nice and fluffy, and I think that these were a great copycat recipe. I hope you give this a try. Let me know how they turn out. Let me know what you might do different and what you think will be better. As always, I appreciate all of your support, your comments, and your likes, and I hope you continue to watch. Until next time, next video, stay tuned for how the cookie crumbles in a day or two. God bless everyone, and have a wonderful week.